Hello Del Rio, this is Jerry with Keller Williams Del Rio, your local realtor, and today we're at 606 La Paz Loop, and I'm here with...
Hi, I'm Lisa Yanelli Diaz, and I'm a Texas mortgage broker with Edge Home Finance.
And we're going to be having a Q&A with Lisa as far as financing goes, and typical questions a typical buyer might have in the home buying process. So Lisa Yanelli, I want to give you the opportunity to share what you do and what your company does for typical buyers in the home buying process.
Perfect. So as a mortgage broker, I actually have over 110 lending options with Edge Home Finance. I basically do the shopping for the client. So if you're someone who is looking to get the best rate, get the best bang for your buck while not sacrificing on customer service, then that's where I come in.
Perfect. So if I'm hearing this correctly, you're able to kind of get the best lender for the buyer. Is that what I'm hearing?
I channel through different lenders, yeah.
Okay.
I channel through different ones to get you the best product out there at the time that you're looking for your home. The big thing is that I do the shopping for you. The great thing about me is that when you work with a retail lender or you work with a bank, they have a set of options that they can provide you, and they have to stick to that umbrella of options. The great thing about me is that I have over 110, so there's a product out there for you that's going to be, again, the best bang for your buck. The biggest thing is that I do the shopping around for you. The best way to describe it is if you are someone who likes to go traveling and you get a travel agent, you like to save money, they handle all the headaches, same process. I handle all the headaches for you. The big thing is just to get you into the home and to know that we did it with the best product out there.
Perfect. Well, that's a great analogy. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
If you were somebody new into the home buying process, Lisa, what are some steps you would recommend as far as the buyer taking in order to secure financing in the home buying process?
Well, a big thing to remember is the first step is actually to get with a lender. I think sometimes when you're totally new to the home buying process, you want to jump straight to the realtor because that's the fun part. Getting to shop around for your home is really, really exciting, but the lender is actually the first step because you want to know what price range you can actually shop in or if you even qualify. If you're looking for the big tips, I would say that make sure that you are making all your payments on time. The big thing too is bank statements. You want to make sure that a big one I see, especially that will kick it back in underwriting, is if you are someone who maybe you have a checkings account and you always keep a low balance and you tend to go negative and then deposit the next day. Little things like that can affect you in the underwriting process and can become a denial. So that's something that you want to make sure you're paying your bills on time. You want to make sure that at the end of the day you're saving up. Even if you think you're going to take advantage of a program like down payment assistance, at the same time it's good to continue to save up so that you know that when we do go through those products, you have options and you still want to have a cushion. If you end up saving more than you were supposed to, then great, now you can go all out in your furniture and everything once you're totally settled into your home.
Perfect. So saving up, basically, big ticket items, saving up, making sure you have maybe money for the earnest money, option money, down payment. Even I mentioned it too. I know there's a lot of first-time home buyer programs that provide, home assistance, for down payment. But it's always recommended to save up.
Yeah, and I think a big thing too that some people kind of get confused is although there is a down payment assistance, not everybody will qualify for that. The other thing too is there are still additional costs aside from down payment assistance. So if you are someone who is going to take advantage of having some inspections done, that's a cost. If you're purchasing a home and you're going to have to get an appraisal, that's a cost. So these are things that are also associated outside of the, regular closing costs. So those are things that on your end, if you're a first-time home buyer, the best thing is just save so that when those things come up, you don't feel, as freaked out. You're prepared for those things to happen. You're prepared for those requests and for those steps, and you're not overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel another big ticket item is credit. What are your thoughts on credit? I know a big hurdle sometimes with buyers. They're wanting to get into a home, but one thing kind of, obviously, underwriting and the requirements is a good enough credit score to be able to qualify for financing. What are your thoughts on that? What can you tell us?
If you're someone who doesn't know kind of what the ideal goal is to be, I would say if you are looking into down payment assistance or anything like that, then the credit score you kind of want to achieve is a 620. I know sometimes people use things like Credit Karma and stuff. Just be warned that those tend to be typically higher. So if you see that you're barely at a 600, then you probably need to wait a little longer. The best thing is just to know that any of those Credit Karmas, any of those credit check type things, they're typically a little higher. But I would say if you're someone who you're looking to get around to shopping, 620 is a great goal to have in mind.
Lisa, so next question is, let's say a buyer were to go under contract. What are some things you would recommend not doing that may disqualify from ultimately securing their financing?
So when you apply for a loan, the biggest thing I can say is that you want to be as honest as possible, and then you don't want to make any changes to all that honest information that you gave me. So if you told me that you were working with ABC Company, then don't quit ABC Company in the middle of purchasing your home. The big thing is that however you reflect it on paper, we still want for that to actually be accurate and true. I know that sometimes change happens, life goes on. There's a lot of things that come into play. The big thing is making sure to have that honest communication, but I would say employment is a big one. Again, going back to those bank statements and things like that, don't stop paying your payments. So if you have an auto, if you have any type of credit cards or anything like that, you still want to make sure that you're staying on top of those, because as a lender, we have a right to check all of that information. Our underwriting team will even ask for extra information to validate everything is still accurate. We do verifications of employment and stuff like that. So you want to make sure everything that you first told us in step A still follows through to the very end, especially when it comes to making sure that you get those keys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another big thing is big purchases, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's very tempting to get the big truck, the big SUV, whatnot, while you're under contract. But all that does is maybe disqualifies you from getting financing, and it kind of messes up the, if you will, the debt to income ratio.
Yeah, we definitely check into your debt to income. And again, same thing. Whatever you had on paper, I'd say keep it exactly as so. You definitely don't want to have, you don't want to pull a big truck out in the middle of your transaction. All of that will mess with your debt to income. I think a big one too is when you go shopping, sometimes they'll say, hey, you want to save $10, apply for this credit card. Definitely don't want to have anyone or anything that's running your credit when you're in the middle of a home purchase. Those are all big no-nos that you want to avoid. Again, my goal as a lender is to make sure not to have heartbreak. So if there's ever anything that you are even thinking about, it's okay to call up your lender, whether it's me or your preferred, and say, hey, I was thinking about doing this. Is this going to be a big no-no?
Right.
I would say that if you're already kind of thinking that it's probably not a good idea, then it's probably not. But definitely those big purchases can cause issues.
Perfect. So I'm a first-time home buyer. What are some documentation that I can start preparing now, so that way when I contact you, I'm able to kind of jumpstart the process, the home buying process, and get financing in order?
Some typical documentation that a first-time home buyer would need would be things like a copy of their ID, most recent pay stub. I'd say the rule of thumb is kind of two. You can collect the two most recent bank statements, 2021, I guess we're in 2023 right now, so 2021 and 2022, your tax returns or W-2s. Even if you held a job for a couple months, make sure to still provide that W-2. Those are all documentation that you can bring when you meet with your lender. It's going to save them time, and that way when they do get that pre-approval, it's a strong one because they've already taken a look at a lot of the information that they needed to see.
All right, Lisa, so some closing thoughts. What are some things or some thoughts you want to share with Del Rio as far as financing goes?
The big thing is that if you are looking into purchase a home, into refinancing, into sell one, meet with a lender. We have a lot of good information. Sometimes if you're just wanting to pick my brain, you're more than welcome to. I think a big thing is that if you're a first-time home buyer, it can be a little overwhelming, it can be exciting, it can be so many different emotions, because at the end of the day, this is a big investment for you, which is why it's important to have a good realtor by your side, and it's important to have a good lender. So if you find that you are looking to purchase your first home, then I strongly recommend you give me a call. My phone number is is 979-739-6064. And again, I'm a mortgage broker with Edge Home Finance. Let me do the shopping for you while still keeping that customer service in mind.
Perfect, Lisa. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for your time. Again, this is Jay with Keller Williams Del Rio, and like Lisa said, if you're interested in the home buying process, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Jay with Keller Williams Del Rio, your local realtor. Till next time. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. If you like the kitchen, this home is actually on the market at 606 La Paz Loop. And if you're wanting more information or wanting a home tour, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Jerry. My number is 830-765-8099.